pages. You may be tempted to create new pages for new content that you may want to add. Your website has structured pages, so adding new pages can potentially throw the structure off. The site is designed for you to make contributions to your site through posting. For posts, we go to Posts here on the left on our sidebar menu. We can see all posts, we can add a new post, we can see the posts by categories, and we can see the posts sorted by tags that we've applied to them. With pages, we can see all pages and we can add new pages. Let's take a quick look at the pages that we have currently in the site. We have the index page, which is the landing page. We have a prayer page. We have an about page with subpages as denoted by these dashes. We have an events calendar page which has a span wrapped around the word event. We see how that's done. And there's a little white space there so that it renders as two words. And remember, the span character on a title renders that text white. But as I mentioned in another tutorial, the span will show up in various areas of the search, which may be confusing to visitors, so use that sparingly. We have a ministries page with a subpage of youth, and we have a contact page. We can add new pages, but again, we'd like to do that sparingly. In posts, we can see all the posts within our site, and it's paginated. We have a pagination button here at the top and at the bottom. We can also change how we see the posts by clicking these icons here. We can see it with a sample bit of content, so we have a better idea of what we're working with. Especially if we're going to do site maintenance and remove posts, as in this video test post, we can quickly trash it here or make any modifications that we'd like to. With our posts, and the same properties exist with pages, we can allow comments, and that we'll talk about in another tutorial. How commenting works. So again, all of our content that we're going to create, we will create through posting. And the one last thing I'll note about pages is that your pages, or the pages that you're starting with, have all been programmed. If I decide to look at, for instance, the About page, let's say View, I'll notice I have all of this different content here. But let's for a moment say Edit the page. I have nothing in my editing window. Again, that's because this page has been programmed. So, if I go back for a moment, and I want to modify maybe the content in the service schedule, I can click here and say Read More. And I'm actually editing a post and not a page. This is a post that I'm looking at. It's been programmed that way. But maybe I want to change the hours. Notice here at the top I can say Edit Post as well as I can say Edit here. So I can say Edit Post, change or modify whatever content I like. I could also change the image, but if I change that image, I also need to add a new feature image. And this feature image is important because what you see on that About page comes from here, not from here. Another thing we'll want to note is that If your window doesn't display as mine, you can go to Screen Options, and you can see all the different options. And again, I may have more because I am logged in as the administrator to enable and view certain areas. And you always want to see the excerpt. And why is the excerpt important? Here, in our excerpt area, we have a sentence, a couple of sentences. And this is our lead-in content. And notice what it says. Here you can find our schedule of weekly worship services. Come and join us to hear God's Word. This content here in the excerpt is what shows up. If I go back to the main site and to the About page, it's what shows up here. Here you can find our weekly schedule of God's weekly worship services. Come and join us to hear God's Word. And that's the same for all of this pre-programmed content. So you always want to have excerpts within all of your posts. And we try to keep that to no more than 1 or 2 sentences. And you always want to associate a feature image to your posts.